This is the Shear Golf Podcast, where we will be talking science, fitness, and everything golf performance. Welcome to the Shear Golf Podcast. All right, so the long winter is coming. And while that may be a Game of Thrones reference for many people, the end of golf season in a lot of the country does seem very long and drawn out because we love the game of golf so much and we work so hard during the season to get our game where we want. And it feels like often that once we're just getting to the point of, playing the way we want, boom, the season's over. And sadly, way too many people at that point take their clubs, they put them away, they sit on the couch, they do nothing, and then hope and pray that when they show back up in the springtime, that their game is going to be where they left off. But sadly, that's usually not the case. So what I want to talk about today is going to be a quick, short, easy podcast. But really the purpose of it is what do you do with the winter coming? What do you do with the end of your season coming? Let's say before it's too late. Because once it's over, it's kind of over. And part of what I want you to do you start by taking an inventory of your game, right? So what do I mean by taking an inventory of your game? Right now, you've had all spring, all summer. Hopefully, you're playing kind of at a good level. Your game is relatively sharp, and you're going to go into the winter. And for me, I think about it this way. I think that the golf season, or let's call it in-season golf, should be built around playing the game, hitting golf shots, finding a way to score, short game, shaping shots, doing all of that stuff. The game of golf, right? Where I don't think that it's really super productive to be working on golf swing per se in season. The off season, on the other hand, is really designed for us to look at our golf swing and our overall game, take an inventory of it and say, okay, where am I with my golf? And where am I physically? And what can I do in the off season that can make change? But during that changing period, I don't have to worry about going out and shooting good golf scores. I don't have to worry about maintaining my handicap. I don't have to worry about how I did in the member guest or the pro-am or whatever I'm playing in. I really can just simply focus on making the changes that are required. So that's what this whole podcast is going to be about today. We really just want to talk about those specific things that we can do now going into the off season. And it starts with taking the inventory of your game. So you got to kind of do this sooner than later, because obviously soon it's going to be too cold to play golf. In a lot of parts of the country, there's going to be snow on the ground. So I want you to do is go out and play some golf. And I think the best way to do it is if you can do a round with your instructor, if you happen to have one, or you obviously can do it yourself, and take an inventory of how is my driving? Am I good with my driver? Am I bad with my driver? Do I hit it straight? Do I hit it far? Do I hit it whatever? Crooked? It doesn't matter, but be honest with yourself, right? And this inventory per se is not a universal inventory, meaning obviously if you're a scratch golfer, what you would consider to be good enough accuracy and good enough length is going to be very different than as a 15 handicapper, right? So be fair to yourself, let's say, and try to understand that you have to do this inventory from a perspective of honesty, meaning, hey, as a 15 handicapper in that example, did I hit enough fairways or whatever? And don't compare yourself to a scratch golfer, right? And so if you're 15 and your goal is to get to be a 12, obviously you want to do better, but your inventory should be based on where you currently are in the moment. Or at least the level you want to play at next season. Long-term is a different planning objective, right? Your goal may ultimately be to be a scratch golfer, but you're not going to go from a 15 to a scratch in a year. I mean, maybe somebody is, but not too many people are going to be able to do that. So you're going to do that. So I got my driver. I'm going to go through my entire game. Is my course management good? Is my driver good? My irons, long irons, short irons, hybrids, wedges, chipping, putting, lag putting, short putting, uphill, downhill, and really take an honest assessment at all of the aspects of your game. I think, how are you mentally? Do you get stressed out when you're in a bad situation? How do you handle it? How's your shot selection in different situations? Are you a person that is taking way too much risk relative to your skill level? So if you can do this with your golf pro is great, because they can be a little bit more objective. Sometimes with ourselves, we tend to be on one extreme or the other. Either we're way too nice to ourselves or we're way too hard on ourselves, right? So are either, as a 15 handicap, some of the people I talk to, their expectations of hitting certain shots are just not realistic as a 15 handicap. Like they think that every time inside, 150 yards, they should be stuffing it in a 10-foot circle. And the reality is that's not even close. Even tour players, from those distances you're probably looking at around 25 feet. So being realistic is a lot easier when you have a golf pro who understands what realistic really means. Or you can do some homework and some research and figure out how close should I be able to hit it from these different distances. There's tons of information online that you can find to kind of look at that stuff. So you're going to take this overall inventory of your game. And then you're going to also take an overall inventory of your swing. Excuse me. So if you're working with a golf professional or you're working on something of your swing, what is it about your swing that you're trying to improve? Are you trying to get a bigger turn? Are you trying to shallow out the club more? Are you trying to go from hitting fades to hitting draws? Are you trying to get your ball flight up, down, spin down? Whatever it is you might be doing, take an honest inventory of your swing. Is your swing good enough for the level that you want to play at? And most people, the answer for that is maybe, because maybe my swing is pretty good and a bunch of the other things we talked about were really bad. My course management is bad. My mental approach was bad, blah, blah, blah. And that's why I'm not shooting the scores I want. Somebody else might take that same assessment and say, for me, you know what? I think mentally I'm pretty good. I don't give away too many shots on the course. But you know what? My just swing isn't really where I need it to be playing at the level I want to be able to play at, right? So those are the two things I'm going to inventory. The other thing I have to think about is inventorying my body. And this is your self-inventory initially. And then your self-inventorying, you're going to say, do I have a big enough turn? Can I get my arms in the position? Do my hips move enough? Whatever the case may be, do I have pain? Does my back hurt after I play? Does my neck hurt? Do I have wrist pain? Right? There's a lot of common injuries and pains and problems that many golfers are suffering every single day. So all of this is kind of gathered as my initial stage in this process. Now I kind of have a sense of where I'm at. You know what? Hey, I'm pretty good mentally. My swing might need some work. I got a little bit of low back pain. Check, check, check. Okay, so now what's my next step? What do I do about it? So the first thing what I want everybody to do, and whether you want to exercise or not, I recommend everybody get physically evaluated. Okay, this is something that we do every day for our golfers. Certainly, if anybody is listening and want to come here, you're welcome to do it. But there are many great people all around the country that you can go to and get a physical evaluation. And within that physical evaluation, you want to start understanding, are some of the swing faults that you have being driven by physical limitations? Are some of the aches and pains caused by physical limitations? Why are some of the things happening? So you can connect the dots. Because if you don't get this physical evaluation, again, exercise aside, when you go about trying to make some swing changes in the off season, how do you know that you're doing what your body can do? How do you know that you're not going to injure yourself more and your, occasional low back pain becomes a back problem, right? Or a wrist problem, neck problem, whatever the case may be. So you want to make sure that whatever you're going to try to do, you have basically two choices at that point. Number one is I'm willing to go in the gym, start trying to make some physical improvement, whatever the case may be, A. B, you know what? I'm not going to do much exercise, but at least I understand what I can and I can't do. So whatever I'm going to work on in my swing, I'm going to make sure that it's within the confines of what I'm capable of. And or C, it's some combination of the two, meaning, you're going to try to get to the gym, but you only have maybe 2 days a week you can get into the gym, or 3 days a week, and you've kind of had these physical limitations for 30 years. Odds are you're not going to go from having this huge physical limitation to being Mr. Super Mobile or stable or fast or whatever the case may be. But you want to be better physically than you are today, but at the same time, you're still going to build your swing within the confines of what you know you can do well. Right? I think that's a really smart approach for a lot of people who are going down this path, right? So you're going to do it that way. If you have a pro, if you have a trainer, this is the opportunity for them to get on a phone call and where they can discuss, hey, coach, it's Ben. I evaluated your student so-and-so today, and these are the physical things that I see going on with them. What was your plan for them? Here are some thoughts on, things that might be difficult for them to do. Do you have some things that they can work on within these constraints of their physical ability? And then hopefully, if everybody can check their ego at the door, you can have a little team now working for you, and everybody is now working towards helping you achieve your goals. So now you're working on stuff in your swing that you're going to be able to hopefully do. You're physically trying to improve yourself so you can get rid of those aches and pains. And then maybe next year you'll be able to do more things because you've moved your baseline slightly in the right direction, shall we say. And then from there, it's then laying out, okay, depending on where you live in the country, how many months do I really have off? So here I live in New Jersey. Let's call it November, middle of November, the latest. It kind of gets nasty. It's going to be dark outside by 4:30 in the afternoon after daylight savings. It's going to be cold. You're not going to get much golf in, especially if you're a guy who works and you have to go to work. The time you go to work, it's dark. There's no going to the golf course. So there's no going to the range after the work. There's no any of that stuff. And I know that's basically going to take me till probably at a minimum, the middle of March. So I have November to December, December to January, January to February, February to March. I have 4 months to really start looking at what can I do. And so from there, you should make a plan. Do you have a net in your house or in your garage that you can hit balls into? Do you have a driving range heated by your house with lights that you can go to? Do you have, now there's tons of these indoor simulator facilities that you can go practice on. Do you have a way to practice your work on your swing? Is your coach still available over the winter? Now, many golf professionals, they teach throughout the entire year. A lot of clubs now have indoor performance centers where they have, a building on the range that you can hit balls out onto the range, and they're there teaching. There's heating overhead, and you can say, okay, this is great. This is an opportunity for me to work on my golf swing, not my golf game, but my golf swing. I don't care where the ball goes for the moment. I don't care where the score I shoot. I'm not bound by results and anything like that. I'm just focusing on, can I get my body and my club to do the things I'm trying to get it to do. So come the spring, I'm ready to go back and start working on the shots and the scoring and all of those things as well, right? So is that an opportunity, yes or no? So A, do I have a place to hit balls? B, is my coach available? Yes or no, right? Not everybody's going to have that option. And or C, you have no golf options and all you can do is work on your body, right? So this off season, you have 2 things. You have work on your swing and work on your body. We obviously here at a fitness center and a performance center, we're big believers that this is a time where you want to increase your mobility. This is increase your stability, strength, power, speed, right? The game has become so much about hitting it far. Everybody needs to hit it farther if you want to shoot lower scores. Well, guess what? I mean, you certainly can do things with your golf professional and with your golf equipment to help you hit it farther. You can optimize your equipment. You can hit, more up on it. You can lower your spin. You can create better, centerness of contact. Like we can go on and, improve your impact alignment, shall we say, right? To help you hit it farther. The other thing is you physically have a better engine. Right? So you have more horsepower, you have more speed, you have more power. So even with that scenario, if you didn't even improve any of the impact alignments, you still will hit the ball farther. If I do the exact same thing I did last year, but with more speed, the ball will go further, right? The more of those elements that I can improve on, like I said, equipment, impact alignments, physical tools, you name it, the better. So what is available to you in your toolbox? So you're going to go down my list. Okay, am I willing to get fitted for new clubs to optimize that club? Yes or no? Whatever the case may be. Do I have my golf pro? Yes or no? Do I have a place to practice and hit balls? Yes or no? Whatever the case may be, you go through this inventory of available things and things that you need to work on as well. And now you can sit down and make a plan. How many days a week can I go to the gym? How many days a week can I practice? How much time do I have in the gym? How much time do I have in practice, right? So we got to do those things so we can make a plan and be realistic with what you're trying to do, right? So for me, if someone comes to us, I'm going to jump over to our side for a little bit here, which is obviously my thing. I want to look at my 4 months as a progressive time. And we're going to start with some basic things. We want to make sure your body's moving well. We want to make sure you're not in pain. We want to make sure you can do the movements that you want to do before we're going to worry about the strength and speed per se on top of that, right? Oftentimes, there's a lot of other variables that we as performance coaches use that might play a role in it. Maybe your nutrition is a problem. Maybe you're eating a super inflammatory diet that's causing a lot of aches and pains and stiffness. Maybe we need to look at that. Maybe you might have weight loss to be part of what you need to do to get your body to move better, right? So do we need to look at what we're doing eating wise from that perspective, right? Obviously, you're going to say, do you get enough sleep, right? People who don't sleep very well tend to have more aches and pains, tend to not have as a good metabolism, tend to not move as well. Sleep is one of the most important things that we can do. So are we getting enough sleep? So we want to look at this whole holistic view of sleep, nutrition, mental, physical, technical, equipment, all of the things that go into this total performance paradigm and say, which of the things do I have time, energy, finances, whatever, to actually go and approach? So if you're in a good program, you should be looking at the end. I have 4 months, and you work backwards. You should not be approaching this, okay, today's my first day, and you jump into where you want to be. You need to look at this in our world, we call it periodization, and not that we have to get into too much technical stuff, but basically you should be looking at your end result. My goal, again, in New Jersey would be ready for March 15th. Our juniors program here that we run for our kids, it ends the end of March, and that's when high school golf starts. So we want our kids peaking, ready to roll, ready to do their thing come the end of March. So we basically start looking at March 30th as our start point, and then we schedule backward. So we have our kids in now. They started end of September, beginning of October. And then we're going to lay out, okay, we have this many weeks for mobility and stability. We have this many weeks for strength, this many weeks for power, this whatever that we're working on. And we kind of lay out the whole thing. You should be doing the same thing with your golf. You know, too many people who are working on stuff in their golf swing, they don't actually have a practice plan. They're just hitting balls. They're going to the range. They're smashing balls. You know, they might be thinking about something, but they don't actually have a plan. I would recommend if you have a golf pro, get a plan. Sit down and say, hey, how many balls should I be hitting? What specific drills should I be doing? Fine, you might know conceptually what you're working on, but how do you actually go about making those changes? What are those things? How much time? How many reps? Whatever the case may be, as it relates to what you have available to give to that project, right? So that's really where you want to start with this, is laying out a framework. So you can literally look at your calendar. Hey, Monday through Friday at work, I want to get to the gym 2 days, and I want to hit balls 2 days. On the weekend, I want to get at least 1 day of hitting balls and 1 day in the gym, or whatever the case may be. Obviously, people have family and other obligations too. And then if you looked at it that way, you had 3 days of each, right? Well, that would be pretty good in the winter to do it. Some people have a gym in their house. Some people have a simulator in the house, or a net in their garage, or whatever. What access do you have? A TrackMan? Do you have other equipment? Some people have nothing. Certain people have everything. And your coach should be able to help you figure out how, if you just have a net and you don't have any type of launch monitor, your coach should be able to help you figure out, hey, look, this is how you set up your net to know that what you're doing is working. Or obviously everybody's got a video camera. As long as you have a cell phone, you have a video camera. Are the things you should be looking for in the video of yourself? You can get a little tripod, set your camera up to look at your motions. There's so much awesome stuff you can do. And if you really take advantage of this winter, let's call it the long winter, like I said, and get your body moving better, have a plan, improve any and all of these things, you should then hit the ground running next season, right? The problem is most people, like I said earlier, they're just getting their game totally dialed in now, and the season's over. And then when they show up back there in the beginning of April around here, it takes their body, they've been sitting on the couch, their body is bad, they haven't been swinging the club, they haven't worked anything. It takes them, April and May just to get back to, where they were now. And then hopefully by June, they start playing good golf again, right? The goal should be, how do I hit the ground running in April at a minimum where I left off, if not better than where I left off, so that come June, July, I'm now taking my game to the next level, right? Because my swing is better, my body is better, I have more speed, I have all of those things. I jumped in where I left off, And now I'm starting to work on my game again. I'm working on hitting my shots. I'm working on scoring. Well, now hopefully I've now brought my handicap down. I'm bringing things lower. And if you do this year after year, in season, yes, you're going to still need to go to the gym. You can't like, oh, golf season's here and jump out of the gym. You're going to need to do a minimum amount of work in the gym, but your gym work in season is going to be maintenance work. This is the time to do your improvements, right? So in season, golf is the priority, golf game, golf shots, golf scoring, all of that stuff. Fitness is kind of maintenance level. Off season, golf swing, golf body, strength, speed, power, they're the priority. And if you can constantly do this year after year, that's the only way people make long-term gains. A lot of people get stuck at the same handicap for year after year after year because they literally are doing what I said before. They play, they make improvements to the season, they end, they do nothing, they go backward, they rinse and repeat, right? And if you look at the best players in the world, whether they be juniors, kids we work with growing up, or you look at what tour players are doing, there's never a time that either one is totally turned off, right? Meaning the physical or the technical. I'm not saying they might not take a week or two off here or there. Certainly they do. But generally speaking, they're always kind of doing work in both buckets. It's just different work and different emphasis at different times to what they're trying to do. Let's just wrap it up here and kind of go back to getting, right? So what do I got to do? I got to start with my inventory on the course, looking at what I do from an actual playing perspective, scoring perspective, looking at my different clubs, looking at the different aspects of my game. Because look, I was just talking about full swing stuff. You might need to work on your chipping in the off season. You might need to work on your putting. You might need to work on speed control of your putting. I mean, it could be anything that you need to work on in this off season to do. It's not just necessarily full swing. For a lot of people, short game is the fastest and easiest way to actually lower their handicap. So I'm doing this inventory of my game of golf, mental and technical piece. I'm doing an inventory and an assessment of my swing with my coach or whomever I work with or whatever I believe it is. All things like, again, do I have a good putting stroke, chipping stroke, iron swing, driver, you name it? Do I have that? Then I'm getting my physical evaluation. So I have 3 evaluations I'm doing. I have an on-course technical evaluation, an off-course technical swing evaluation, all the different putting, chipping, irons, and driver. And then I have my physical, what my body can do. So I have 3 evaluations that I'm going to do. Then I'm going to look at how much time I have available, how many months, how many days a week, and how many hours per week that I'm willing to commit to it. And then I'm going to devise a plan both with my trainer or by myself and or with my coach. And once I've got all those things down, if you stick with that, I guarantee you next year will be your best year of golf. Give it a shot, try it out. If we can help you in any way, please feel free to reach out. You can either just give us a call or check out our website where you can email us directly. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening. Please give us a follow on social and check out our website at www.bensheargolf.com for all of our programs and products. Also, be on the lookout for our next episode as we continue to discuss the best of everything golf performance.